Oh, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Canyons. I solicited random people on the internet to let me review their cars in a one-take format up here early in the morning before people start showing up. And so this is what just happened? I don't know. This is a 2007 Audi RS4, the B7 variety. It has a 420 horsepower, 4.2 liter V8. It has all-wheel drive, it has a manual gearbox, and it has 44,000 miles on it. Ironically, I've never actually driven a stock RS4. I've driven a few different modified ones, but never a stock one, so this should be a treat. I love the 4.2 engine. It may be a bit outclassed, if you know, depending on what you want to call that. 420 horsepower today doesn't, oh, you get a Mustang with that much. Yeah, I get it, but it's a pretty big deal in 2007. It was basically the same as what the E92 M3 had when it came out, and pretty impressive. It's got a nice flat torque curve. Doesn't really make a ton of torque down low, but when you wind it out, it's pretty magnificent. Ooh, good sound. Has this really nice mechanical whine that comes with this sort of thumping, pulsing exhaust. It's got a very to it. It's really, especially from outside the car, well insulated in here, so it's pretty quiet. The funny thing is, you know, compared to a brand new car today, the steering is really different, even on cars from just a couple of years ago. Oh, come on. A lot of cars out this morning for a Sunday. What's going on here? Oh boy. Look at this. Here's a bunch of winners right here. So, inside the car, while we wait for these idiots to be idiots, are you doing this too? Of course. While we're waiting for idiots to be idiots, yes. The interior is really kind of a timeless thing in here. I had one of these, or an S4 in 2005 and 6. Loved it. Really a solid feeling car. The materials and stuff have held up really well. Granted, this is a very nice example. Very easy to drive. A little understeer there under braking, as you can expect, because the engine's hanging way off the nose. But very, very predictable. Really an easy car to drive. You do have to input quite a bit more steering than you would in a brand new car. On center, it's just not as precise as the stuff rolling off of showroom floors today, but that's all right. Once you load it up, it goes good. Yes. I really like the RS4. I always liked it when it was new. I like it now. You can get one of these for around 30,000, 35,000 bucks. You want to get a good one because they can be rough on the wallet if you've got to fix stuff all the time. CPO, if that's still available for these, might be on the table. The power delivery is just, it's really smooth and even. It's hard to appreciate one of these stock until you drive one that's been modified poorly. But the suspensions, I mean, given what the chassis is, you know, what they started with, the suspension's been dialed in really nicely. It's not bouncy, but, you know, it's responsive. It's really fun. This is a fun car. When you think about the fact that you could have one of these or a brand new A3, I mean, the performance differential is so big. Even on a very tight technical road, which is not where the RS cars shine. They are really Autobahn cars, but it's still getting around pretty good. This is a very challenging road. Latigo is like a double black diamond in the canyons, so there's some tire squeal from the Continentals, but but that 60-40 differential is getting around. Oh yes. Beautiful morning here in the canyons. I like the RS4. All right, this is a good enough place. Let's test the turning radius. How is it on the U-turn? When we film cars, the U-turns are very important. Can it do a good 3-point turn without getting too dirty on the side of the road? Accomplish that. Very light steering when you're turning around, and it loads up when you start going quickly. It's not heavy by any means, but it does get heavier the faster you go. Yes. A little more bolstering wouldn't be the worst thing for this car, but the Recaros are very comfortable. I like the materials and all this thing. The carbon in here is really, really nice. This car has held up very, very well dynamically. It's still a fast car. I mean, I know there's cars that could get around here faster, but this is a really quick car for, you know, essentially 35 grand or what you get one for today. Really underrated. Don't be confused with tire squeal and bad handling. The car is doing what I tell it to do. It's just screaming about it. Great car. I'm keeping the power between like 4,000 and 7,000 in second gear. It's great because it's not that it's geared long, but when you can rev the engine so high, you can just use so much of the power band without having to shift. For really, really serious canyon duty, I would probably recommend pads and fluid. The stock hardware is good, but you can always use a pad and fluid upgrade. I put a short throw shifter on mine when I had an S4, and now that I use this stock shifter, I feel like leaving it stock is probably the better decision. Some cars you need a short throw, other cars, especially German cars, it can make it worse sometimes, you know. The damping is really good, you know, it's supple when it needs to be, but then when you load it up in the corner, it does get around. Also, this car, it really feels like the right size. Cars from a few years back, 1 generation ago, maybe 2 generations ago, to me, really feel like about the right size, and a lot of the versions of these new cars feel a little big. The M4 is a good example. The new Audis don't feel too big, but I certainly like the cars at the smaller end of their spectrum in terms of size, rather than the ones at the top end of their spectrum. This is a really good car. There's not, I mean, yeah, the gripes you have about it are mostly that it's not as good as something else at X. And most of those comparisons are valid. However, this is a really well-rounded package, and when you consider the fact that putting snow tires on one of these, if you live in that kind of a climate, they're beasts in the snow with a good set of snow tires. And so, you know, maybe you're not in Southern California where, you know, a Porsche or even a Corvette or a BRZ or something is not really an option because of where you live, and you want that all-wheel drive. RS4 is, buy them now. Because of my rule, cars with manual transmissions and fender flares will appreciate down the road, especially the top models such as the RS4. And even though it wasn't a limited edition model, I feel like this could be one of those Audis that really holds its value really well. I can't see this car ever being worth less than 30 grand if it's nice, you know? So anyway, I'm a fan. I think we've learned this. So big ups to Bill, Hutchison Cocktails and Restaurant. That is his restaurant here in LA. It is absolutely delicious. Their Tom Kha soup is crazy good. Go check that out if you're in town. Maybe I'll meet you there for a beverage. And thank you to him for tossing me the keys to the RS4. I'm a fan. It's really nice. Very well-rounded vehicle. I would have one of these for sure. What a great fun daily.